Good afternoon on what is a grey, overcast, slightly blustery, but mild day. I am back in the Read Nook with some parcels, a nice hot cup of tea, and a cat who's not ours. So I'm going to delve further into this box. Fairly heavy. So let's find out what's in here. I've already been in once and I've pulled up several things. So, oh, sorry about that. But he's got bored of me, so I've already pulled out a stack of support things, basically gaming accessories for John Carter of Mars. So, dice. In fact, several sets of dice. And surprisingly done an unboxing of those, and then I also pulled out the accessory decks of cards for John Carter of Mars. And the next thing I have beneath this is, if I can get, get hold of it, is this lot. And there's a lot more in there. I can tell you that now. It may well take me some time to get down to it, but let's find out what is in this. Nicely coloured parts, and reaching in just for the very first thing, and it is this, which is a Dishonored role-playing game from Arcane and Modiphius Entertainment. Welcome to Dunwall. How you use what I have given you falls upon you, as I said to the others before you. And now I return you to your world, but I know that I will be watching with great interest. The Dishonored tabletop role-playing game transports you to the Empire of the Isles and beyond, to the conspiracies and machinations of its political class, religious sects, and populist factions. Creating original characters and playing a story of assassins, duelists, explorers, and scholars, you can forge your destiny and even touch the void. Dishonored presents a grim, merciless world of toil and working-class strife, and glistening regency halls. A complete set of streamlined rules, including character creation, combat equipment, and that enable you to roleplay and explore the world of Dishonored using a fast-paced version of the 2D20 system. Extensive chapters describing the setting of Dishonored, the city of Dunwall, the port city of Karnaca, as well as the islands of Gristol, Morley, Serkonos, and Tivia. Information and rules for channeling the power of the void and the mark of the outsider, utilising bone charms and powers gifted you by the outsider. Developed in close consultation with the original designers at Arcane Studios and the 2D20 rules development team. There you go. Let's find out what's inside. Okay, so we've got inside. You've got a nice map of Dunwall, I believe. Yep, Dunwall. And then there's the credits page. And we get on to here's the introduction and contents page. We've got a cartoon strip here, which gives you the introduction, essentially for your player, the reader, you get some idea what the game's about, and that nicely sets the scene for the tone and style of the game. Basically, you see them. What you see is them really making it across the rooftops of Dunwall on a secret mission. And you can see that full colour there, just sort of like the action of the roof across the rooftop. So we have discussing the different themes. What explains what is Dishonored. It takes you into the Isles and then looks at its themes: order and chaos, and the other themes of the Abbey and the cults, and the rulers and the meek. Playing the game's core rules, and this is going to be quite a simple, relatively simple game. It's going to be sort of like on the rough, I would guess, on the rough complexity, essentially at its core, with something like John Carter of Mars or Dune, which are not too complex in terms of the core mechanics. So you have the characters have skills of fight, move, study, survive, talk, and tinker, and then they have 6 styles. So boldly, carefully, cleverly, forcefully, quietly, and swiftly. Combine those 2, that gives you a score you're going to roll under to gain successes. So there we go. There's the simple number of successes you need table with an example of there. And then we have discussion of momentum, which is the equivalent of fortune points in the game, but has multiple uses, whether that's buying extra dice, re-rolling the dice, and so on. We've got quite nice artwork here, interspersed with this ongoing comic book story, cartoon story. This will probably deal with the aftermath, perhaps, of the raid which took place, or the mission which took place earlier. And then we get into the action and the intrigue. So we've got covering with things like, combat, stealth, and in some ways stealth is far more important in this game. Dishonored being a game, really a computer game in which you explore a city and try not to get basically caught and discover secrets, perform missions, and so on. And you've got advice in here, running the game, so game mastering 101, be prepared, make sure everyone is comfortable, presenting problems, let the players be awesome, how to bring in the rules, keeping it simple and clear for a straightforward game like this, how to frame scenes and make the game awesome, and then expanding it out with different options. Then we have the protagonist. Here we actually got the character creation. And interesting here that doesn't actually look like a fantasy setting. That looks like the image looks quite far more modern, but it doesn't feel out of place. And then the characters also have personal truths, which these are stone cold facts about the character and the world around them, which they can bring into play and gain bonuses and so on. And then you can also have focuses as well, which essentially those are special qualities, because you don't really have skills as such, but you can have focuses. So you've got different talents as well, archetypes as well. So assassin, commander, and that'll give you a guide to building those. Ready for play, courier, duelist, entrepreneur, explorer. Lots of options there in terms of what you can play, rather than necessarily a straight thief or rogue. And then if you've got rules in there for heroic character creation, if you want to scale it up a bit or a lot. And then personal truths and elements of basically setting more of the character design. And this is a setting also that does have some technology in here, so you've got pistols and rifles and grenades and mines and things all described there. Other items, of course, your blueprints and schematics and burglars' tools, cheaters' tools, that sort of thing, are all known and used in the setting as well. So it's not a straight fantasy setting; it's much more different into that. And then we get onto the void, which is sort of like the occult or sort of like mystical element of the setting. So you're dealing with bone charms, types of bone charms, like which can be common, corrupted, or black. So we've got a list of the bone charms there. So what else we've got? We have artifacts of the void. And Then we got on the banks of Wrenhaven. The Wrenhaven, we got the history of the capital. So here we're beginning to delve into the deep background and the setting which the player characters will explore during the play, and we even have options for placement at different times within this setting. So we've got a complete timeline in as well, and the various districts of the city, so Holgar Square, Flooded District, and more. Complete with story hooks, so there's truths about the Holgar Square, and then there's a couple of story hooks. So you've got the truths, which is more background information for the benefit of the referee, and then the hooks he can use, or she can use them to pull in the players. And then we get from the chapter of the brothel, we've got the factions of Dunwall, and this is who the play characters will be working against, working for, serving, and so on. So you have Cult the Outsider, the City Watch, the Whalers, Loyalist Conspiracies, the Brigmore Witches, and more. Lots of different factions there. Again, and it's you have descriptions of it, potentially of their ranks, what they do, and story hooks involved with them. So lots and lots of discussions of the factions you can bring to play, and then we have Opera and Desire, Dunwall stories that you can set there. So more of this good art. And then we go on to eras like the Rat Plague during the years of chaos, and we go out of it, and we go out via Bristol to the Jewel of the South, accompanied by these letters. These aren't very easy to read, I have to admit, on first glance, but this takes you out to Karnaca, and it's going to be doing the same for the different regions as well. So I'm going to carry on flipping through. So you've got coverage of Karnaca, from the Bay to Shindaray, and more. Again, these nice pieces of art give a sense of place, scale to the city. If you're not used to seeing it in daylight, and we go out beyond the shores. So far from Dunwall and Karnakos, out onto the Isles. And then we've got street urchins, and then of street urchins and master aristocrats, there's your NPC chapters for giving a ready supply of protagonists, allies, and the like. So like the street peddler, and then the common folk, on the city watch guard, so on. So cultists, witches, and not all illustrated, which is pity. Whalers, and I would have liked sort of like a bit more of a illustration there. City watch officer, tall boy. It's basically our notable adversaries for the watch. They are armoured suits for the watch. Scholar, parliamentarian, and more. So flipping through those, and we've got creatures as well, such as a rat swarm and a whale. And Weepers and Visions as minor adversaries. Before we get on to, that's a notable, the Weepers are a notable adversary, and we actually have the Notorious, such as Emily Caldwin, as a major adversary. And they're all illustrated, so we've got more of those, which, they can become the sworn enemies of the player characters, or their patrons, and the like. So lots of those before we get on to the oil trail, which is a short adventure. So that should take a couple of sessions or so to play through. It looks quite exciting. So yeah, that, and there's the character sheet. There we go, nice and easy to read. So that's Dishonored the Dishonored role-playing game, published by Modiphius Entertainment. Basically grimy, grubby, working up from below role-playing game set in a dark city. Yeah, okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, please do click the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And finally, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a box and a game, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do hit that subscribe button. Once again, thanks for watching another unboxing in the Nook, and I'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.